coming to you from my 2019 Ford Mustang Bullitt. And so it's a beautiful spring day here, just having a blast driving around here in the Bullitt, as I often do. And so this video is not about my Bullitt, though. I will be talking more about the Bullitt this year. It needs an oil change soon and a couple other things. But today I want to talk about the new 2024 Mustang that was leaked. So there's been a bunch of new information here coming out this week, so I figured I'd talk all about it. And although that sounds really good, I'm going to roll the windows up so you can hear me a little bit better. But it still just sounds so good. Every time I hop in this thing, I just soak that up. It sounds so good. Anyway, 2024 Mustang. So if you follow Mustang news here, you'd see there was a very interesting series of events that happened this past week. So first there was some spy shots of the interior, which I'll talk about more in a second. But then here on Wednesday, we got two different leaks. So first off, in the morning, there was a somewhat unflattering picture of the front end of a base S650 Mustang. And, you know, it looked okay. It was a very evolutionary look. Obviously, it was having small wheels and stuff, so, most base Mustangs don't look super good still, so I think that was a little bit underwhelming. And then, very mysteriously, that picture, by the way, was posted it was sent in from a reader of Ford Authority, and Ford Authority posted it up. But then, just a few hours later, mysteriously, someone named StangGang93 posted on Mustang7G.com and said, GT will be beautiful, and then just sent what looks like an official rendering, a real picture taken somewhere of a rendering up on a wall or something that shows the GT version, which does look much better, shows what the DRLs look like when they're on. And so it was kind of funny. I'm inclined to think that was something sent in from Ford, or someone that just wants the Mustang to be painted in a better light. And so, since there is a leak, they're like, hey, well, let's at least show a better leak than the less impressive one that just came out earlier this morning. So my thoughts on it. Well, it's definitely evolutionary. I honestly was expecting a lot more out of it. I actually was expecting it to look a lot more like the Mach-E, with headlights that are maybe more similar to that and stuff. Clearly, I mean, these are legit, real deal pictures. So this is what we're getting, is what you're seeing there. And so I think they just kind of wanted to play it safe. They obviously just evolved what we had with like the 2015s, where you had just the simple kind of longer rectangular bar style headlights there. Obviously they now have like a tri-LED setup to them there, and some cool little accent lighting to them. But it's almost like they skipped over the 2018 to 2022 kind of styling, and instead just evolved it from the 15 to 17s, at least in my opinion, the way everything's a little more squared off in the front there, a little less curvy than what you got here on the 18s to 22s. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it looks fine. It's very interesting. A couple little notes there about the GT version. You can see it has the much larger air intakes there, and also an interesting looking either hood scoop or hood vent. It's kind of hard to tell from the picture if it's just the angle, so that it's maybe a smaller version of like what we see on the GT500, or if it is an actual scoop. Some people also said the badge on the side looks like it might not say 5.0, so maybe GT will be some other badge there on the side instead of the 5.0. There's been talks of the 5.0 being electrified, but it sounds like the V8 is still sticking around, so don't worry about it going for something that's not V8 powered for the GT. It sounds like GT will still be a V8, but anyway, so those are the other little interesting little things. Obviously, that's all we see. We haven't seen any leaks to the back end yet, but expect some type of tri-bar design. Maybe that will look a little more like the Mach-E's tri-bars, but we'll have to see, about that. But I think as the owner of a 2019 Bullitt here, I still am, firmly set on keeping this car. I always was. But some people would ask me, what if they make a Bullitt version of the new Mustang? Would you be interested in it? And, I didn't rule it out, but I think now that I've seen how that front end looks, it's not bad necessarily, but it's not as retro. And I mean, I'm not expecting them to be retro forever, but I like how this looks a little more retro in the front with just, you know, the big round projector headlight. Obviously it has the, you know, encasement with the turn signals and the DRLs and stuff, but just a little more classic looking than, you know, the more modern, you know, kind of squared off approach they have there with those new ones, which is fine. You know, I expect them to move on, you know, styling wise, and you know, so I think it looks fine. Just as far as a Bullitt application, what I like in Mustangs, which is retro stuff, for me, you know, it's not a vehicle that I think I'll be swooning over personally. Another thing that is a big disappointment in my opinion is the interior. So the interior spy shots are copyrighted, so I can't show them here, but I will include the link in the description so you can see all the pictures of the interior for yourself. It was spied really well thanks to a great spy photographer that got some really good shots there of it. And so what we can see is that it's a very generic looking design for the interior. Obviously it has digital gauges, it has a flat bottom steering wheel now, which is kind of nice. The screen's bigger for the touchscreen. It's very driver centric with it being angled towards the driver, just like everything is doing these days. And it makes sense for a Mustang since it is, you know, primarily, you know, a driver centric kind of vehicle. And so you know, I understand why they made the changes they made, but there's some key stuff that's really missing in my opinion. Like, it doesn't look like it has the double brow dashboard, which is a, you know, key Mustang trait that it doesn't have. And honestly, based on the spy shots, again, maybe it's hidden well with a little bit of camo that's still remaining on that dashboard and stuff. But if it doesn't have that, then that actually means that the Mach-E has a more retro design to its dashboard, which is kind of crazy to say, than the new Mustang will. You know, we'll see. I'll reserve judgment on everything until we see the actual final official stuff. But, you know, looking at that, I mean, that interior to me is just so generic looking. It looks, honestly, really similar to like the new 2022 Silverado interior that just came out from Chevy in their truck. Like, that's what it doesn't look remotely sporty to me. Even the steering wheel doesn't look super sporty, even though it's a flat bottom. It just doesn't seem super exciting. And again, it just, you know, one of the reasons why I love the S650 generation of the Mustang here is that, you know, it had a lot of really cool retro stuff, but still had all the modern amenities and nicely modernized everything. And that's what I love about this interior. Whenever I got back in this interior, I'm like, yes, like this is what it's about. Having the round air vents like the 60s cars, having the clearly defined double brow dashboard here, but yet I still have, you know, the digital gauges. I still have all the toys I can play with. I still have an 8-inch touchscreen with smartphone integration, which is all I need at least. You know, I like having the round steering wheel too. I think for a car like this, it's a little more classic feeling to have a round wheel. I'm not opposed to flat bottom wheels, but just in a Mustang, just not something I'd be, you know, looking for. So yeah, I mean, so honestly, the interior is the biggest letdown to me. I can totally live with the outside. And if they do a Bullitt version of it, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to, you know, them doing one. It wouldn't make me mad. But I think as it is right now, I'm definitely going to be sticking with mine, especially just because of that interior. I think honestly that interior is a deal breaker. This interior seems so much better in my opinion, just, you know, based on my own subjective thoughts, nothing objective. You know, objectively, it's going to be better with bigger screens, better technology, and hopefully upgraded materials, things like that as well. But yeah, I think the interior was the biggest letdown. When I saw that this week, I was like, man, that is a hard pass on that interior for me. But anyway, so that's about all we have. You know, there's still been some talks back and forth. There was some rumors that Australia, there was a quote from their head of Ford in Australia that was mentioning that the manual gearbox could be a little bit in jeopardy, but there were some spy mules running around with manuals still. So I think that a manual is still safe, especially here in the States, especially considering how large the take rate is for the manual here. I don't think they get rid of the manual. So I think manual's sticking around still. Sounds like V8s and, you know, the 4-cylinder EcoBoost will still stick around. They will probably have some type of electrification, if not as standard, then maybe as an option down the road. Ford Authority did confirm, though, that all-wheel drive is not happening, at least for now. So don't expect that here. And then the last thing, though, that was revealed in this interview that was done with Ford of Australia's head is that at least for Australia, the Mustang won't be arriving until next year and will actually be a 2024 model year vehicle instead of a 2023 model year vehicle like we were often assuming and expecting. So, you know, that's just one other thing. If you're, you know, someone who's waiting for one of the new Mustangs. I'm not sure what they're going to do for the 2023 model year. I'm guessing not much, considering it sounds like maybe this Mustang is a little bit behind schedule, and instead of being a 2023, it'll be a 2024. But so just expect it sometime next year. Not sure exactly when, but it could be debuting right around the New York Auto Show time in 2023 here. Something like that, we'll have to see. But yeah, so that's all of my thoughts and my little rundown here on the new Mustang. For those of you who might have been curious about what I've been thinking about all these developments here in this past week. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts on the leaks here we have so far on the 2024 Mustang in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.